Famous people who passed away in 1799. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. George Washington. He was born in February 1732 and he died in December 1799. His age was 67 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was inflammatory throat and difficulty in breathing. He was the founding father of the United States, military officer and a farmer who served as the first president of the United States from 1789 to 1797. Washington led Patriot forces to victory in the American Revolutionary War. Patrick Henry. He was born in May 1736 and he died in June 1799. His age was 63 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an American politician, planter, and orator who declared to the Second Virginia Convention in 1775, "Give me liberty or give me death." A founding father, he served as the first and sixth post-colonial governor of Virginia. Increase Sumner. He was born in November 1746 and he died in June 1799. His age was 52 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an American lawyer, jurist, and politician from Massachusetts. He was the fifth governor of Massachusetts, serving from 1797 to 1799. Trained as a lawyer, he served in the Provisional Government of Massachusetts during the American Revolutionary War and was elected to the Confederation Congress in 1782. William Packer. He was born in October 1740 and he died in October 1799. His age was 58 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a founding father of the United States, who was a signatory of Continental Association and the United States Declaration of Independence. He was a Maryland delegate to the First Continental Congress and the Second Continental Congress, governor of Maryland, and a district judge of the United States District Court for the District of Maryland. William Clifton. He was born in 1771 and he died in December 1799. His age was 28 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was tuberculosis. He was an American poet known for his satirical and patriotic works that often reflected the political and social climate of his time, despite his short life. Gabriel Christie. He was born in September 1722 and he died in January 1799. His age was 76 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a British Army general from Scotland who settled in Montreal after the 7 years of war. Following the British conquest of New France, he invested in land and became one of the largest landowners in the British province of Quebec. James Burnett. He was born in October 1714 and he died in May 1799. His age was 84 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Scottish judge, scholar of linguistic evolution, philosopher, and deist. He is most famous today as a founder of modern comparative history linguistics. In 1767, he became a judge in the Court of Session. Sir Patrick Warrender. He was born in March 1731 and he died in June 1799. His age was 68 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Scottish baronet and politician who served as a member of Parliament and was involved in the governance of Scotland. John Bacon. He was born in November 1740 and he died in August 1799. His age was 58 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was inflammation. He was a British sculptor who worked in late 18th century. Bacon has been reckoned the founder of the British School of Sculpture. He won numerous awards, held the esteem of George III, and examples of his works adorn St. Paul's Cathedral and Westminster Abbey in London. Richard Howe. He was born in March 1726 and he died in August 1799. His age was 73 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a British admiral who played a critical role in naval operations during American War of Independence and secured significant victories for Britain. John Arnold. He was born in 1736 and he died in August 1799. His age was 63 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a pioneering British watchmaker, known for inventing key improvements in timekeeping devices, including the marine chronometer, which improved naval navigation. William Thomas. He was born in 1734 and he died in September 1799. His age was 65 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Welsh clergyman and academic who was a Fellow of Pembroke College, Oxford, and later Chancellor of Llandelf Cathedral. He was also a friend and encourager of the poet Evan Evans. William Withering. He was born in March 1741 and he died in October 1799. His age was 58 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a British physician and botanist who discovered the medicinal properties of digitalis, a compound derived from the foxglove plant used to treat heart conditions. Josiah Tucker. He was born in December 1713 and he died in November 1799. His age was 85 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Welsh churchman, known as an economist and political writer. He was concerned in his works with free trade, Jewish emancipation, and American independence. He became Dean of Gloucester. Jean-Charles de Borda. He was born in May 1733 and he died in February 1799. His age was 65 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French mathematician and physicist who made significant contributions to fluid mechanics and voting theory, known for the Borda count voting method. Honoré Fragonard. He was born in June 1732 and he died in April 1799. His age was 66 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French anatomist, known for his anatomical models and dissections, many of which were displayed at the Fragonard Museum in Paris. Claude Belbast. He was born in December 1724 and he died in May 1799. His age was 74 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a renowned French organist and harpsichordist whose works were influential in the development of French keyboard music in the 18th century. Pierre Beaumarchais. He was born in January 1732 and he died in May 1799. His age was 67 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was tuberculosis. He was a French playwright and political activist, famous for his plays that critiqued the social structure of France and his involvement in supplying arms during American Revolution. François Giroux. He was born in April 1737 and he died in April 1799. His age was 62 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French composer who served as director of music for the Chapel Royale in Versailles, composing sacred music and operatic works. Pierre-Charles Lemonnier. He was born in November 1715 and he died in April 1799. His age was 83 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was stroke. He was a French astronomer who made extensive observations of the moon and contributed to the understanding of the Earth's shape and size. Louis-Guillaume Lemonnier. He was born in June 1717 and he died in September 1799. His age was 82 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French natural scientist in physics, geology, medicine, and botany. Later research of his on electrical phenomena was concerned with thunderstorms and the fair weather condition. His older brother was astronomer Pierre-Charles Lemonnier. Louis-Claude Cadet de Cossicourt. He was born in July 1731 and he died in October 1799. His age was 68 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French chemist known for discovering the compound cobalt arsenide, also known as Cadet's fuming liquid, and for his work in early organometallic chemistry. Guillaume Warriot. He was born in November 1712 and he died in December 1799. His age was 87 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French portrait painter celebrated for his realistic and detailed depictions of French nobility and intellectuals in the 18th century. Jean-Étienne Montucla. He was born in September 1725 and he died in December 1799. His age was 74 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French mathematician and historian who authored comprehensive works on history of mathematics, detailing its development from ancient to modern times. Louis Jean-Marie Dupontel. He was born in May 1716 and he died in January 1800. His age was 83 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was a short illness. He was a French naturalist and anatomist who collaborated with Georges-Louis Leclerc on the Histoire naturelle and made significant contributions to comparative anatomy. Jean-François Marmontel. He was born in July 1723 and he died in December 1799. His age was 76 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French historian, novelist, and philosopher, known for his Enlightenment writings and involvement in literary and philosophical debates of his time. Ferdinand Cobel. He was born in June 1740 and he died in February 1799. His age was 58 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a German painter and engraver whose landscape artworks captured the beauty of German countryside and contributed to the tradition of landscape painting. Charles Theodore. He was born in December 1724 and he died in February 1799. His age was 74 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was stroke. He was an elector of Bavaria, known for his patronage of arts and efforts to modernize the infrastructure and governance of his territories. Johann Hedwig. He was born in December 1730 and he died in February 1799. His age was 68 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a German botanist who is considered the founder of bryology, the study of mosses, due to his groundbreaking research and publications on moss classification. J.O. Christoph Lichtenberg. He was born in July 1742 and he died in February 1799. His age was 56 at the time of his death, and he died after a short illness. He was a German physicist and satirist, known for his work on electricity and his sharp, aphoristic writings that critiqued society and human nature. Adam Friedrich Husser. He was born in February 1717 and he died in March 1799. His age was 82 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a German painter and sculptor who influenced Johann Wolfgang von Goethe and was known for his neoclassical artworks and role in the German art scene. Helena Dorothea von Schönberg. She was born in November 1729 and she died in March 1799. Her age was 69 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. She was a German noblewoman, known for her philanthropic efforts, including the support of education and charitable projects in her community. Alexander McKee. He was born in 1735 and he died in January 1799. His age was 64 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a fur trader and British Indian agent who played significant role in negotiating alliances with indigenous tribes during conflicts in the Ohio Valley. Philip Turner. He was born in 1751 and he died in 1799. His age was 48 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an English-Canadian surveyor who made significant contributions to the mapping and exploration of Canada, particularly in the Hudson Bay region. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.